we got going on today? How about a good old-fashioned how-to video? Regular viewers of the channel know that I am a maintenance dork, and this is one of my favorite things to do when there's nothing else to do. Today we're going to do a little maintenance on the Countyline 25-ton log splitter here. Now enough of the preamble, let's get into it. Now since the engine is warm, we're going to go ahead and do the engine oil. I don't know how many hours I have on here. Even though I said in the other video that I had an hour meter on here, it's either fallen off or I forgot to put it on. I would go with it fell off somewhere. I could swear I put one on here, right over here, but I might have lost it along the way. Anyway, as a maintenance dork, I do this every year. Sans the hydraulic, I'll do the engine oil every year. If you're running this thing more full time, you might have to do it on a more frequent basis, but for me, who's only busting up wood for my own house, I do the engine oil once a year. So, first off, you're gonna get yourself a 10 millimeter and loosen up this nut here. A word about these two on the side. These are not drain plugs. They're just nuts that hold on the panels. This side plate and this heat shield, you have to go with this one. I don't have a drains it on here. If I find it, I'll link it down below which one fits on here. So know that you're gonna kind of make a little bit of a mess here. Comes with the territory. Looks like we're all drained out there. Hardest part about this is the cleanup, but it's not too bad. Not bad at all. Look, it even polishes it up a little bit. Beautiful. Who's better than us? Now, next we got a refill. According to the manual, we need about 20 ounces of 10W30. I went with full synthetic because I'm a dork, but you could use whatever 10W30 that you need. This bottle contains about 28 ounces, so you need like 3/4. It's gradiated on the side, but you need about 20 ounces. Now we're on the rear of the machine, and this big stupid camera is not going to be able to see it, but the fill is right on the other side. And we're on the back of the machine, facing forward, facing the tow hook. And this is where one of these flexible funnels really comes in handy. You get a long joint too. Flexi one's really going to pay off. Well, that was pretty simple. The engine oil is a straight up small engine oil swap. Really nothing crazy. Just need your 10 millimeter and your 10W30. Now we're going to get into what might be the biggest question mark for folks, is the hydraulics. If you saw the 50-hour service on the big tractor, you know that the star of that show and the star of this show is this oil pan here. There's about 4 gallons inside the hydraulic tank here, and this oil pan holds 4 gallons. I know it does because we did it on the big tractor. So if you're interested in doing this, you want to take some of the guesswork out, again, I'll leave a link down below for this oil filter, for this oil pan. Is it a lifesaver? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. It absolutely is. So the first thing I'm gonna do is loosen up the drain plug, loosen up the fill spout up here so it drains out, and get this thing all draining out. Now down here on the drain plug, the top vent dipstick is just a square drive, so you can just use a pair of pliers to open that up. And down here, if you're of the ratchet kind like I am, is a 19 millimeter. Get it loosened up. Get your drain pan right in the way here. And pray you know how to do math. Because it's coming with you, like it or not. A lot of stuff in there. I'm going to go ahead and say there was a little bit of water in there. You could see the little water drop. Come on, focus. You could see the water droplets in there. There was quite a bit of water in there. So I'm happy that I'm swapping this out. Like I said, unfortunately, this is one of the only pieces of equipment that has to stay outside. So it wasn't enough where there was actual like rainwater contamination, but I'd go ahead and say it was definitely condensation built up inside that tank. So I'm happy we're swapping it out.
One nap later.
So as this is draining out, we can go ahead and take the filter off as well. You guys are gonna get hit. That's a guarantee. A big wrench really helps this because this is on pretty tight. So, a word about the hydraulic filters. There seems to be a little bit of a question mark in regards to actually getting these. This is the stock one that's on there. The stock replacement is a lens. I'll throw a picture of it here. Is a lens CP752-30. It's a 25 micron. My issue with this is that it was sold out all over. I had to have it shipped in, which normally isn't an issue, but I wanted to do this today. So I picked up a replacement, a suitable substitution, this Baldwin T839. This is a 10 micron filter. We're replacing it. Like I said, the other one was a 25. That's a smaller micron size on the replacement. And it was it's sold on Amazon. Leave a link down below. And it was half the price of this one. After shipping and everything, this one was half the price, came prime, and was here. This is absolutely a suitable replacement. So I went with the Baldwin. I went ahead and filled the replacement filter up with hydraulic. This is where I spill it all over. Haha, I didn't spill it. Nice. That's good. Cool. Now the tank is still just dripping ever so slightly. So let's get that buttoned up. Again, 19 millimeter. Without getting a thread pitch tool out, I'm sure these are just pipe thread fittings. It did have a little bit of Teflon tape on it, so I just reapplied new Teflon tape. We're gonna go ahead and sink it back in. Tight. Sweet. Now I know I was espousing its virtues. If you look, this oil pan, it's full, but it took all 4 gallons. This thing rules. Now even though there's caps up top to drain it, this one here, and there's a vent hole here, I wouldn't go swinging this thing around. It's full, full, full. Take it easy, get it out of your area, and dispose of it how you need to. But don't go crazy with the cheese whiz. Now arguably on any oil change, the refilling part, especially at this scale, is the most annoying part. Here, we got the log deck here in the way, which I don't feel like taking off. Motor here, there's just stuff in your way to directly pouring in. So I'm gonna go the really dorky route, and I'm gonna use a measuring cup. That's a 1 quart. So we need, what, 16 of those? Now, as far as what we're refilling with, I'm going back with the stock option, which was AW32. There are different flavors of hydraulic fluid that you can put in. I'm going to throw a screenshot in here, but also it's on the hydraulic tank itself. Now here, with my schedule, it is kind of temperature dependent on what you can add into the hydraulic tank. If you're running this thing in the Arctic, you can put in transmission fluid, ATF. If you're running it in a particularly hot area, like up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or so, you could fill it up with AW46. But I'm in a more temperate range of 32 degrees to about 90. I'm not busting wood at 90 degrees. Are you crazy? I'm going with the stock option of AW32. So I filled it up with either 11 and a half or 12 and a half. I'm going to have to check the footage and then I'll put it underneath here. I got another half plus whatever's left in the bucket. However, when I was checking it on the stick, it looked full. So I'm going to go ahead, fire up the machine, run the stroke back and forth a few times, and then double check it. A note, there's a bit of an argument on how to check hydraulic. I've been taught you check it without it screwed down, where just the bottom of the dipstick is just resting on the lip of the tank. You don't screw it all the way in, check the fluid, and then take it out. I've been taught you just put it in there and check it. So according to that, I'm full on its first iteration here now. Like I said, I'm going to turn it on and run the stroke back a few times, get any air bubbles out anywhere, which inevitably there are, and then double check my fluid. It's just, what is that, 3/4 full or 7/8 full. So I'm just going to top it off a wee bit more because it's been 5 minutes since I had spilled hydraulic fluid on my hands. And we should be good. Sweet. Right at the H. Beautiful. Sweet. That's done. All right, so I think now we're going to switch from maintenance that everybody should do to kind of optional maintenance. Perhaps if you don't take this off the property, you're not going to have to grease the hubs any. However, I do drive this around every once in a while, so I will throw some grease in. You could see on the hubs there was a spot for a Zerk fitting, maybe, but there's no actual fitting on here, so I'm just going to hit it with some lithium grease. I took the dust cap off. Just going to shoot some lithium in there just to, because grease is cheap and parts are expensive. That's all. Get it all up in that bearing. And I'll go ahead and do the other side. Probably next year I'll take the cotter pin out, take the wheels off and then grease the actual hub, but this is good enough for now. And the last thing I'm going to do, because I'm not using it today, but after each usage, I spray it down with a little bit of the A-Bomb aftershave. You guys have seen this on the channel before. This is CRC 336. It's a rust inhibitor. You could use WD. I've seen other people use like used motor oil, and we have some. But I found that this stuff works great for short-term storage. The bed looks hammered now, but this is where that bird's nest was, mouse nest or whatever. So that's why this looks bad. But otherwise, you could see we've worn down the paint, but the metal is really not worn down. When we wipe it, this stuff is still on there. So after sitting all summer, spring and summer, it's still in really good shape, except for the bird business back here. To layer up, just a thin layer of this stuff. Works great. I realized while I was doing the edit that I didn't film the part where I talked about the air filter, so fast forward now, we're in the future. Ooh, future. It's actually really easy. Take the wing nut off. Then you have a two-stage filter. You got the dust filter and then the air filter behind it. All I do as part of maintenance is I'll just flip it over and run some compressed air from the inside out to get the dust back out. I did it earlier in the video when I had the air compressor out cleaning the chassis and everything off. I guess I just didn't film it. If you open up the top cover here and it turns out that this has been moused or birded or whatever happens to it, I'll leave a link down below for a replacement filter. It's not expensive. I think eBay you can get them for like 10 bucks. I don't know about Amazon, but it's a quick and easy thing. No tools, just the wing nuts come off and you can take it off. Yeah, you know, I just started using it, so I mean, it does work. It It was clean a couple months ago when I filmed that video, so you know, as a matter of maintenance, you might just replace this at the time of maintenance anyway, again for 10 or 15 bucks, just to give yourself an air of security. It might be worth it. And now back to the outro. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, this is a pretty straightforward gig. All things being equal, I don't know, an hour and a half. Probably go a little bit easier if a handsome bearded fella did all the legwork and finding out what all the materials you need for it. But really it's straightforward. And again, at risk of repeating myself, considering what these things cost for about $100 worth of what I consider consumables, it's worth it to do this once a year. Just throw some money at it and it's gonna keep you happy. Now this is the 25-ton yellow model. I did quickly look at the other models and it's roughly the same procedure. Some of the other engines have a little bit of a higher capacity, but it's the same 10W30, a little bit higher capacity as far as the reservoirs for the hydraulic fluid. But overall, if you're watching this and you're like, well, I got the gray one, it's all the same stuff. Just double check your manual. If you don't have your manual, they are available on the Harbor Freight website. Just go to the one that you own, scroll down, and you can click on and find the manual. But like I said, I looked through it real quick, and this is roughly the same procedure. So now I'm confident that with a little bit of money, this thing is ready to rock and roll for another year of service. And I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.